Hey, tell me.
Double trouble then. Like maybe that's why it's extra. But
What are you?
Gemini.
Okay, Nance. Oh, my God.
Shut up. What did you learn?
Okay.
What did you learn?
Guys, welcome to a new episode of Living.
Am I living?
We have so much to talk about today.
What is it? I don't even know what we're talking about.
I can't even get my phone because we're recording on it. But I'm going to get it up on this screen. That is bananas that you're a Gemini.
How did you not know that?
I think I did. Like, when I read this this morning, I buzzed. I was like, Nancy's a Gemini. And I was like, nah, maybe she's not. I'll ask her.
Okay.
All right, you do the intro. I'll get this.
Hi, everyone. Welcome back. Another episode of Living with Vince Fusco and Nancy Timpano. Today we are talking about, I'm not quite sure yet, because apparently Vince is very excited about sharing something.
We were just starting to talk about what we're going to talk about, but then we both were commenting on how ridiculous this full moon.
Oh, crazy. It's actually, done my head in.
Nance, this full moon, I spoke to you yesterday and I had a absolutely ridiculous
and I felt
day.
your headache over
You
the
were
phone.
so funny. Yeah,
it was weird. It
everything you said on the phone yesterday was 100%. You're like, I can feel the pressure in your head.
Yes.
And when you made the comment about, you were like, it's not like you're slurring, but it's like your top and bottom teeth
aren't touching. I could feel the pain. It was coming through the phone. I felt like
Can I tell you how
seen
seen I felt? Can I say that?
Aww.
Like I felt seen when you said that.
Aww.
So thanks for that.
Oh, that's good. But no, I really, really felt it.
So when you, let's talk about full moons, right?
Yeah.
Because people, I think, laugh at full moons.
Or they laugh, they think, oh gosh,
Wackos.
what cult are we in or something?
Woo-woo.
Yeah, hey, I'll claim it.
I'm here.
I am a woo-woo, all right. We are not ordinary.
Nah, look, I'm just trying to think of a pun, but I can't think of one quick enough. But full moon, right? And this week has been a really funny week of energies leading up to the full moon and this lunar eclipse in Scorpio that we were just talking about. I have had things cancelling. I've had technology playing up on me. I had a day of podcast interviews yesterday that have been organised for months. And in the 24 hours leading up, my first one, who we're doing it remotely from Seattle, unfortunately cancelled. And I was like, that's cool, we can reschedule it. Then the one who was flying back into Adelaide, the flights got changed by 4 hours, and then we ended up cancelling, and then the headache, and then he was getting unwell, and we were like, it just wasn't the day.
No.
And that's when I rang you and I was like, God, what a day. It's not been good. What things do you encounter during full moons for yourself?
It's never the same.
No.
This week, poor Eugene is all I have to say. He copped it. Maybe he deserved it this much, but I stretched it. I made it big.
You made it worse.
Yeah. If something was little, instead of going what'd you do that for? Are you serious? Blah, blah. And I could hear it coming out.
Hang on. You're saying...
losing it at him.
Okay. I misunderstood. I'm sorry. I thought you were saying Eugene copped it as in he feels it pretty full on when the full moon, and you were amplifying it.
No.
So in my head I'm like, but why are you going out of your way to make life hard for poor Euge?
No. Oh, no. Eugene Moons. Yeah. He just knows. He knows what I'm doing.
So you're just saying because of the full moon, you're in that mood and he's then copying
If the pen was here and it should have been there, why isn't it there?
That's full on, man.
I was crazy.
You were crazy.
And I knew I was, but I really wanted to go on about it and get the message across.
Yeah, that's fair.
So, no, Yuge isn't really into the moon cycle.
Okay, well,
he just knows if it's a new moon or full moon because I'm either out the back doing something or getting my crystals
howling
out
or something. Yeah, nice. Okay, so I do follow the moon cycles. I also follow my zodiac signs. Yes, come for me. I'm a Scorpio through and through, textbook. But I read this morning, okay? Now tell me this doesn't buzz you out.
Okay.
I'm going to turn this way because I'm reading. It says, this full moon will help you release guardedness around your vulnerability, which is something I want to talk to you about. Mm-hmm. Your vulnerability is your superpower. You heal people with your compassionate nature. Accurate so far.
Yes.
From a young age, you learn to put up a guard to not get hurt.
Ooh.
Very true.
Yeah. I think a lot of us do that.
I think so. Mm-hmm. There is an energy of needing to figure out other people first or even to test them. This has caused you to miss out on a deep level of emotional intimacy with people that your soul craves. This full moon will help you release your fear of confrontation or sharing your true feelings. You may be intuitive, but you can also rush to judgment. You may not have the conversations you need to deepen connections. Expect much needed communication coming your way and learn from a Gemini. Dun, dun, dun.
Mama is here.
All right, well, look.
I have arrived.
What have you got to teach me today? What are the answers?
I don't know. It's a full moon. How do I? Isn't that funny?
Nance, I buzzed out when I read it. And like I said, I was like, I'm sure you are a Gemini, but I wanted to confirm with you on the potty, and I'm glad that we did.
Yeah. And the beginning of what you were just reading is very much a lot of what Joya, your wife, was talking to you about this week. She's
angel.
on it.
She's my oracle. She is my muse in every way, as you know. But she said something to me this week, and maybe, look, I didn't want to really talk about it on the podcast today, but we can. No, I'm all for it. If I'm going to be the real Vince Fusco, I'm going to
vulnerable.
be
Come
vulnerable.
on.
And this is what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
So I'm loving living.
Yeah.
Obviously. Love and living, because we get to do this. We get to hang out, we get to have a chat, we get to share more of our life story. And Joya said something earlier this week. She was like, it's wonderful to hear the banter and hear your relationship with you two guys, but your personality, she goes, I feel like I get to know you very quickly because you are sharing personal stories.
Yeah.
With The Alchemy of Success, my other podcast, it's a much more informative interview conversation. Yep. And whilst I do think it is pretty candid and casual, I can definitely see how it is a different production.
A message. Not...
Are you saying we don't have a message?
No. We have a message, but we have a conversation.
Yeah, we have conversations. And I think the message here is just good promotion of communication and sharing friendships with important people in your life and good humans to benefit your life as well. Mm-hmm. Whereas, the Alchemy of Success is like, I want people to be able to listen, be inspired, question their journey or find inspiration and or find a new direction through that, which is really wonderful. But she said, where do you sit? Like, where is Vince at the moment? Like, a bit of a life update on the podcast. She was like, can you do that? Like, where are you at? Like, because we hear it with you and Nance and you're sharing your stories, but where do we actually hear, like, your day-to-day and get to know you more? Yeah. Gotcha. And it's funny because that's the thing that I do struggle with in that vulnerable sense because, and it's what we've started talking about for this very show, because we feel like we've lived so many lives, I probably am a little bit still like, which one am I? And whilst I'm an amalgamation of all of the versions of me from before, and I'm the most me now that I'm ever going to be. Yeah. It's that question of like, who are you? What do you do? And I know what I do. And this little, horoscope that I've read out to you here today, I feel like it speaks to me because I'm like, I do feel like I heal people with my nature, and I want that. And what I do is I help people see what they're great at, and I help them develop their craft and skills and their mindset to that. Yeah. I help bring it out of people. That's the best way I can explain it. Whether or not that fits on a business card, I don't know.
Well, it's hard to explain, but we were talking about when you say what do you do?
Yes.
How we kind of we talk it down.
We minimise it.
We minimise it, and it's the way we say it. And I was saying, I remember, I've always done entertainment industry stuff, but I've always worked in retail as well. Yes. So when I'm at an event, and although we love a bit of banter, I actually hate networking and small talk. Yeah. Can't stand it.
It's because I don't like pumping myself up.
That's right. It's like an interview, but in a non-interview situation, whereas I'm not good in an interview, but it's always, and I remember my good friend Chantel, that you know as well, she pulled me up once. We went to a luncheon and someone asked me what I do, and I said, I'm just a retail manager.
I know exactly what you're going to say. What's wrong with that?
Elbowed me and said, why do you say that? And I'm like, what do you mean? And she's like, why do you say just? And I was like, because then I'm in a room that people like have got more of a title.
Yeah.
And then I felt maybe a bit belittled. So I bring myself down even more by saying just.
Totally.
And I've tried to correct that, but I don't always, because I do always say, I've always had a real job. It's like, well, you know what? Why do I say that?
1,000% I hear that. I feel that so much because it's the idea even that we say, I've always had a real job.
Yeah.
Like, what makes this not real?
Exactly.
we're doing it.
Yeah.
Do you know what I'm saying?
And
We are
someone has to
doing
do every single job. Someone
Correct.
has to clean toilets. Someone has to.
Correct.
So,
correct.
yeah, we talk it down, don't we?
And the just is one of those things, yeah. I hear that a lot with, I see it a lot with some of my clients who are maybe in more like administrative roles, you know, where they say, I'm just a receptionist. But you're not just a receptionist.
I couldn't do it.
I couldn't do it. And not only that, but without you, who's running that?
That's right.
What would happen to the people that you support if they didn't have you? So again, they don't minimize your value in you. And it's funny because Joy said to me, she's like, you know, the things that you do, that you tell people to do and you encourage people to do through your work are the things as well that like, you know, you're challenged with at the moment. And I said, yeah, absolutely. And there's a few layers and complexities to it because of my role within my real job,
Yeah.
right, that I can't talk about some of the work that I get to do, which is for obvious reasons. And then my own consulting work, working with people one-to-one and that, like I also don't probably talk about that enough because I'm, again, just I like to operate within I know that I can do it within privacy and confidentiality and anonymously, but I'm also just mindful of, I guess, like even though I might put something out there saying, well, one of my clients is doing this, that person knows that it's them.
That's right.
And even though
I like that.
I know. And when it's a good thing, like of course there's good things and bad things, but like I just feel like they give me permission for it. But for some reason I don't feel it's like a real bad imposter syndrome, Nance. That's what it really is, isn't it? Like I feel like my vulnerability of claiming what I do and claiming my strengths in it are big noting myself. And I feel ridiculous for that.
Yeah, no, because we had another conversation before we started recording about an episode that we've recorded and we're not happy with, which we normally don't do. We just like, whatever you get, you get. You don't get upset, as they learn at school.
That's it.
And it's real because we've just switched it on and off we go. But the reason we didn't like it is because it sounded like we were name-dropping, big noting, and we are going to revisit that episode.
We are.
But we didn't want the message to not be what we wanted it to be.
Absolutely.
But what you're saying is, look, it's like the plumber that's always got the leaking tap, right?
Yeah, and I agree with that too because I've lived with that plumber / tiler / builder. You know, every like Italian migrant child out there is just going, yeah, that was my dad. It's the even with that, at some point you got to go, how come he's not fixing his own pipes? No?
No, true.
There's a major background piece to this that is giving no context to anybody here, really.
Okay.
Now that I say that out loud, it makes total sense. I'm recording a series of things at the moment to bring you on this journey with me. So when this all does come through and whatnot, there's a big thing happening, which is wonderful. I'm nervous to take that leap myself, because it means a big change. And we were talking a bit about support before and the circles around us and how lucky we are and thankful we are that the people that are supporting us they're just amazing. And it's the ones that have really surprised us. The strangers.
That's why it's amazing.
And I think probably that's one of the things that whilst I know I've got the support network of my friends and family, I know that.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's not always as visible as I would expect
or like it
to be
or natural or
does that make sense?
Yeah.
And look, it's not a bad thing.
It's because you and I don't think twice about doing it. And this is the thing, we set ourselves up for disappointment because sometimes you have an expectation, not an expectation that because you and I would do it.
Yeah, definitely.
That's why
definitely.
we get cut where you think, why doesn't someone think to do that?
Yeah.
I don't want to ask you to do it.
But it's not even just that, like that example of like giving support or giving thanks or recognition. Like I don't need that. It would just be nice, I think. And I think because of I don't want to have a dependency on the bigger, wider support network of strangers. So I guess like maybe there is like a fear of I'm going to jump. Who's going to catch me? Do you know what I'm saying? I know there are people there. I think I'm just like maybe too heavily weighting like who's going to be there.
Right.
The who's rather than
you just need to jump.
Oh yeah, we just got to jump.
We just got to jump. But can I say this also probably opens up a little bit of another conversation.
Definitely.
That I don't know about you, but I know with myself, if I have to ask a favour of someone out there, calling on friends, people I know, whatever, and it's for somebody else, I have such a confidence to do that.
1,000%.
If it's for my son, my friends, my this, I have a confidence to call on people, hey, I need a favour because this person really, it would mean a lot to them.
Yeah.
But I do not have 1 ounce of confidence to ask that
For yourself?
for myself.
1,000%.
And I have in the past, and there's people out there that would be on the receiving end of messages, and I think I did touch on this in one episode, that I might send a message maybe once a year, if that.
Yeah.
Once every couple of years, hey, just letting you know I'm here if you ever need.
Love that.
End of story.
Yeah.
Boom, boom. Right? And in my eyes, I'm like, wow, that's vulnerable. I've really, really put myself out
Totally.
there. But for someone else, unfortunately, I can be that ball buster.
Yeah, okay. But I think there's layers to it as well. And you're so right. Like, that's a phenomenal example, I think, of how you will go out of your way to put other people's needs first and or like utilize your network and connections to the benefit of those around you, but not yourself.
Yeah.
Having the same conversation only this week with, we've been working with the camera setup and
Yeah.
we had Nacho come and help us out and
Yes.
show us all of this. And I've been speaking with him all week about
Yeah.
like, if I need to buy cameras, what do I do? And I've spoken with some other photographer friends and I always support good people doing what they love because I think that it costs me nothing and I want to support that and foster that. And when I was chatting with one of these friends this week, they were like, why don't you ask, like, why haven't you called us sooner or something? And I'm like, oh, look, to be honest, I probably don't ask for all the favors that I do. And again, it's because it's not a point game. That's why I don't think of it like that. I'm not like, oh, you owe me. No, I do things with no expectation because, again, if it costs me nothing, if I can do it and it's going to help, I will do it. But I also know that I'm one of those people who can't say no.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, so I do always go out of my way for a lot of people, but I never then either like cash in those favors or expect it back in return. I feel bad. I feel guilty. But I said to her, I probably don't ask for help as much as I should with the network I've got. And she was like, well, buddy, for everything you do, you best start making those calls. And that's been in my head all week since that conversation. And you know what? I was like 100% right. Everybody rings me and asks me for favors. Yeah. Even like people that I haven't seen in years will out of the blue ring. And again, if I can do it, I will.
And we will. And that's lovely of us, but it doesn't mean it doesn't hurt or we don't feel the feels. Like I had a message this week as well, actually asking, it was just a message asking who I'd used in the past for something.
Yeah.
I haven't spoken to this person for 20 years.
Yeah, wow.
In between, maybe I had another message 2-3 years ago asking for another favour. But it's that comfort that they've got saying, I need this, who did you use? Yeah. I'm like, excuse me. And in my head, I'm like, treat others the way you want to be treated. Treat others the way. It's almost like a religious thing for me, unfortunately, in my head.
I'm with you exactly the same way.
And it's like, I'll answer their question and I'll deliver what they want, but I'm hurt as well and I'm carrying that. Does that make sense? Yes, I use this person, but I'm thinking, wow, how rude. I actually do think that. Yeah. Because we don't have a relationship.
Totally.
So why are you so comfortable and why is it expected?
I think,
I give you the answer.
If there was a relationship, I think it's different. Yeah. Definitely.
But we might have had a relationship or worked to get cross paths
20 years.
A million years ago.
Yeah.
But now, really?
Like, I've got friends who, or like, let's just say like a colleague of mine, recently my nephew was like, I'm doing a project for school. I need to speak to someone in this industry. Uncle Vin, you know everyone. Yep. Do you know someone? Yep. Actually, yes, I do. Yeah. I worked with him for 5 years. Great guy. You know, we've stayed in touch probably like every now and then through social media. But we haven't worked together for 3 years. Haven't seen each other in 2 years. But again, knowing the relationship, I felt comfortable enough to be like, hey, mate, how are you? How's the family? How's everyone? I know it's a bit random, but I've got my nephews doing everything right in your industry, and I can think of no one else who's better suited. But I would love you, if possible, would you mind answering some questions for a 15-year-old? Vin, absolutely. Yeah. Good human, right? Because he's a bit like us. Like, he would also be the one to message on a day of a big launch. Like for the book, he messages out of the blue.
Yes.
How you going, Vince? Just saw that you did the book. Congratulations.
Yep.
Fantastic. Podcast, same thing. No other conversation during the year other than pump ups, which
Support,
I love. And they're lovely things. I've got mates mates from uni who I don't even see anymore, Nance, but every year without a beat, we message each other on our birthdays. And they say it, they're like, you don't miss every year. And it's just like, it's lovely, but I don't do that for everybody.
No.
Not because I either don't want to or I don't, but like the ones who are reciprocal or they do the same thing back, there's just something that naturally brings that out as well. Do you know what I mean? So like I love that. I feel good about those people, but it's the ones who don't show it as openly or maybe naturally. And look, I understand that it's not for everyone. You know, I'm not saying like we don't need the praise, we don't need the constant pump up, but it's just like it's surprising some days.
It's surprising because this circle is comfortable to ask us for things.
Yeah.
That's where I think probably that pain
is
comes in sometimes. Is
it one of those things, do you think, where like, you know, when you're closer with people, you hurt the people that are closest to you because you know like there can be a bit of a punching bag because there is that security or that stability. Do you think that it could be part of it?
I don't know. I just know that if it's for my inner circle, I will bend over backwards.
1,000%.
And I almost sometimes in some ways make myself look bad and possibly burn the bridge with that friendship because we really want to deliver. Can I just say this as an example? And I am going to name call.
Go for it.
What am I saying? Drop
name
a name.
Drop.
Name drop. That's the word I want to use. Last year, my nephew got married.
Yes.
Right? And in my head, he had asked me to be MC, which I don't really MC weddings, but I was so honoured. And I'm like, oh, my God, I would love to do this. And firstly, I was just like, wow, someone's actually acknowledged that I'm an MC in the family. That's lovely, right? So I was really, really honoured, like blown away, like dribbling mess when he came and asked me. So in my head already, how am I going to make this so special? How am I going to make it so special? So anyway, I was like, what can I do to make this unbelievable? So I had seen that Guy Sebastian was playing in Adelaide the night before the wedding, right?
And you're old mates, as we've discovered.
We are old mates.
Earlier in the season.
But we're not best, but
no, totally.
We were very close at the time. But anyway, so I was like, wow, what would be the chances? So I've messaged Guy and I said, hey Guy, you know, very random, here we are, blah, blah, blah. Any chance? I've seen you're playing on this date. The next day my nephew's getting married. Can I please put you up at this, you know, Bedford, is it Beresford Estate down at Beautiful. I said, look, if there's any possible way,
would love a little shout.
I would love to have you there on 1,000%. The night to sing for them, whatever. He wrote back and I was, you know, he took time. He wrote back and he's like, Nance, unfortunately, he actually cancelled the Adelaide concert because he was doing court stuff with his manager at the time. He goes, Nance, unfortunately, I've had to cancel that concert. However, I'd love to send a video or something like that.
Good.
And I'm like, oh my gosh, that is amazing. In the meantime, my nephew's come to me on the side saying, Auntie Nance, I've seen Guy Sebastian's concert, blah, 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 blah. Right, and I'm like, oh my God. And I said, look, I am so sorry to break this to you. I was actually already onto this. I'm not even lying. I'll show you the message. I can't, but I didn't tell them about the video.
Yeah.
So on the night, I've just surprised them.
Best.
The video, which was just like, oh my God, you know. But having said that, I feel like I've used my favour. I won't be that person again. That's why when I put that video out there saying, yes,
that's
look
the
at this message,
Guy Sebastian video you're going to get.
People, do not come to me. And I almost feel like across the line a bit. He was very accommodating.
No. I don't think he crossed the line at all.
And I won't, but the thing is, I've never gone to Guy Sebastian and say, Guy Sebastian, can you give me a call out?
Totally.
Because I'm not comfortable with that. But I'm comfortable with being a ball breaker to get something for those I love.
Okay. Yeah, 1,000%. I've seen you in action, not just that example, but 100%. And you're so right. And I agree with you using the one favour. Like, that's it.
Yeah.
Maybe not today's episode because that's an excellent example of getting a guest star at a wedding.
Yeah.
A similar situation for me a few years back for my cousins, I got Human Nature.
Right.
Similar thing.
Yep.
We'll tell that story another day, but a bowl breaker. But from then, the amount of inquiry I received from friends, family. And again, like it was just amazing who then people would come forward out of nowhere and be like, hey, could you organise this person for my wedding? Like, I don't have a relationship with those people. The people, you know what I mean? Like,
these are probably people that come to us. This is like, you know, with Eugene in soccer, people go, oh, would you be able to get so-and-so to come to my kid's birthday party?
Oh my God.
I'm like, excuse me, sorry. How long since I've seen or heard 100%. From you? And even if we were besties, I won't go through that.
Even I've asked, okay, I'm guilty of it with Huge, and I'll say that because even.
No, that's different.
Oh, hang on. I know, but even then I feel still, and that's what I'm trying to, that's the good example of how we're exampling this. We still feel bad even with people.
I know.
Like I've known you for 20 years. I've known Eugene for 15 years through you.
We're always
and again, we're not best
conversing.
Mates, but even then for me to be like, oh, I've been asked to help out with a fundraiser. What could I possibly bring other than my skill set and this handsome face? But I could, you know, again, who could I utilise in my network? So again, like Eugene, wonderful. A couple of times he's signed Guernseys for me for fundraisers and managed to get the team to sign them for it. Like, but even then, I'm like, I can't ask that again. It's done. I know. And I don't want to, even though, like, again, there is a relationship. I still wouldn't go back again and be like, how many times can I milk this cow?
Yeah, it's a hard one, isn't it? Because, like, I've done it a million times for other people, but I will literally, like I said, the only thing I've ever done to some people is say, hey, just letting you know I'm here if you need. Yeah. That's literally all I do for myself. Yeah. Yet for other people, I will bend and stretch and rotate and make it happen.
Gee, lucky you do all that yoga.
Lucky. Those downward dogs came in handy, let me tell you.
Say dagwood dogs?
No,
downward dogs. That makes more sense. Oh, man. Okay, well, look. Where do you sit on this? If you're listening, are you someone who will constantly go out of your way for other people? This is not where the episode started. We started with full moons. Yeah. But look at where we've ended up.
Wow, that really did go crazy on us.
Ooh, I love it. Look, guys, plenty more to talk about. We'll see you for another episode of Living next week.
Am I living? Oh, what a funny thing to say. But your mama always said, look up into the sky, find the sun on a cloudy day, on a cloudy